Hello and welcome to our second portion of our cold calling class called Cold Calling Success Training Part 2. Here we're going to talk a little bit about price, gatekeepers, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of our scripts and some accountability that goes with that. And so this is our Part 2, and stay tuned. We're about to get started. All right, how to handle the price question. When your prospect asks you about the price of your product or service, what's important is not that you tell them, which is fine, but rather what happens next. Ask yourself, what do you say after you give them the price? And 80% of our competition will either remain silent, waiting for them to ask another question, and this is Sales 101. This is something that people teach. Keep pitching their product or service. They keep telling because it's uncomfortable. Once you give a person a price, that's that one moment where you either have them or you don't, right? Move on to another qualifying question. This whole process of sales and cold calling is all about qualifying somebody. So guess what? All of these responses are actually wrong. So let's go back, right? So remain silent. Just don't say anything, waiting for them to ask another question. So there's an awkward silence. Keep talking, right? If they don't like your price, they're going to be annoyed by you keeping on and trying to sell them more. And then moving on to another qualifying question is probably your safest bet. Okay, but all these things are wrong. Okay, and if you do any of these, you're missing a golden opportunity to find out where your prospect stands in regards to budget. The right question to ask, or the right question is, ask them how they feel or where they stand in regards to the price you just gave them. There's nothing wrong with your price. Okay, we can get 3 bids on one of our properties, and one can be $30,000, one $45,000, and one $70,000. I'm never offended by the guy who wants to charge $70,000 because he thinks his value is at $70,000. You don't get offended by that. You just that's not the guy. And then the $40,000 or $30,000 guy is going to probably be a little too cheap. So, I would expect them to go, well, how do you feel about that price? The $70,000 guy would go, well, I got someone else that's willing to do it for cheaper. So why would I go with you? And then he's going to give me all his reasons, right? Because a lot of times we're on the other end of this with our contractors. All right, so how to handle the price question. How does that price sound to you? That's not a closed-in, so that's an open-ended question. How does it sound to you? Unless they say good, figure out where they stand. If we give them, let's say, they say, hey, we'd like to know what you'd offer on their house, and you say, well, I'd pay $300,000 for your house. And then there's that moment of silence. How does that price sound to you? So you can get some feedback because they're processing. Oh my gosh, I thought I was going to get $400,000. And so you need to ask them, how that sounds, and they're going to go, oh, that's really low. All right. Is that what, you could, and we can rephrase this to match what we're doing. Is that within your budget? Is that where you thought this would sell? Yes or no, right? Okay. And is $300,000 something that appeals to you? And a lot of times people go, man, I didn't even think it was going to be worth that much. And then you overpriced it. Right? You just never know until you ask. And in this question, is that what you were looking to spend, or is that what you were thinking you were going to get? About $300,000. No, I thought I was going to get $400,000. Okay. And then that gives us the chance to explain why it's $300,000. Well, I can understand that a normal house down the street is going for $400,000, but you shared with me that your house needed a lot of work. And if it does need a lot of work, and I don't know if you've seen those TV shows, there's probably a good chance there's other things behind the walls that you can't see and we can't see that we have to account for. And so because of that, we generally have to price it at a point where we know that we can fix this thing up and not get really hurt or risk our investors' money on something that we're going to lose money on. I'm sure you can understand that, right? See what they say. All right, let's move on. Gatekeepers. As you can see over here to the right, the gatekeepers. And this mostly applies to either one of the spouses covering for the other, or it applies to when you're calling a really good realtor, and they have somebody that answers the phone for them. So really good realtors don't generally answer their own phone calls. And when I say really good realtors, meaning they do a lot of sides. They don't have time to sit there on the phone all day. So they have a gatekeeper or someone that's answering their calls. So let's go to the standard. Most sales reps hate cold calling because they have to deal with the gatekeeper and often get screened out. They get blocked. Moreover, many inside reps make it worse on themselves because they try to manipulate or lie their way through to the decision maker. It never works, and it only alerts the gatekeeper to screen you out. So there is a better way. Here we go. All right. Here are the top 3 techniques to eliminate screening. Part of this technique includes giving your complete name. So give your name, your company name, even if it doesn't mean anything to them. Remember, 80% of our competition is trying to dodge the bullet, right? They're trying to trick somebody. It only encourages them for more screening. Always give them both your name and your company name. Here's some other stuff. Please use the word please. Show respect. It goes a long way. Give them your full name and company name. Use instructional statements. Okay. All right. Here's how you do it. Start your call with, "Hi, could you please connect me with the person you're trying to talk to? Please. Hi, could you please connect me with, Mrs. Ross, please." And remember, it's a gatekeeper's job to screen you out. So when they ask, "Can I tell him," I guess that wouldn't be Mrs. Ross, "Can I tell her who's calling?" Yes, please tell him or her that this is blank with the ABC company, or that the blank with the ABC company is holding, please. Use please 3 times. So you're killing them with kindness. Can I tell him who's calling? Yes, please tell him Sam Weaver, CEO of Fortune Weavers, is holding, please. Gatekeeper, can I tell him what this is about? Yes, please tell him it's about a property that I possibly want him to list or her to list, and I'd like to discuss that with her as soon as possible. I'll hold while you put me through. Right? So you just assume that they're going to put you through. And then you get the wife or husband. Right? Blank isn't here right now. Could I take a message? Yes, please, but maybe you can help me first. Do you work pretty closely with this person? Do you guys make decisions together? When there's big decisions to be made, do you work closely together? Stuff like that. If yes, oh, that's great. I don't want to waste any of his or her time. Perhaps you know if, and then you start asking qualifying questions. And we'll get to this a little bit when we're going over our scripts. But again, you have to mold this to your style, right? But these are little tricks along the way just to kind of slip through without doing it in a dishonest way. All right, the definition of a qualified lead, because this is important, because not everybody needs you or wants to work with you. So you want a qualified lead. Ask the top 20% what makes up a qualified lead, and they'll tell you that they need to know 6 things before they send out information or go in for the close. And they use a qualifying checklist to make sure that they get this information. Here you go. Why they will buy. You need to know why they'll buy or why they're selling. Why. So you got to understand what their actual need is. And why they won't sell to you. Here it says buy, but really for us it's why they will or won't sell. Who makes that decision? I've seen several times where I've had people talking to siblings in a trust, and it turned out they were talking to the wrong sibling. And it's the person that's not the decision maker. You got to talk to the decision maker. What is involved in the decision process? Who needs to be involved in that, right? And what? And do you have competition, which you always will in most cases. We sat down yesterday with a person who we were going to do a price lift with, and the gentleman said, hey, they had several people come by the house, several people saying this and that, and so we got to kind of hear about what the competition was like. And really, what's the budget? In our case, it's what do they want to sell the house for, and really how quickly. We need to know how much and how fast, because not everybody wants to sell their house in 2 weeks, right? Not everybody wants that. Maybe they want to wait 2 months. We have one right now where they're going to do a lease back for a month. They don't want it, and the lease back means we buy it and then they lease it back, so they get their money, which is nice. But maybe they don't want to move right away. So we have to be careful to ask qualifying questions so that we know, if we say, oh, we're going to close in 3 days. Well, I'm not ready to move in 3 days. So you have to ask qualifying questions to find out what they really need. And you want to go over these things. So why, who, and what, right? The top 20% find out and know this information about each of their prospects. So you can be either an 80%er, which is kind of status quo, average, or the top 20% that do these things. All right. So here we go. So this is our for sale by owner script. When we say FSBO, it stands for sale by owner. Okay. And so this means we've bought leads or we're finding these online. You can find them on Zillow. We happen to buy these from RedX. And so it says, hello, my name is San, and I'm calling about the house for sale. Do you guys have any offers yet? So what I know is when someone's listing their house for sale and they get a phone call, 9 times out of 10, it's an agent that wants to list their property. So they're not super friendly about talking to people about the house. They're going to want to know right away, are you calling to buy my house or are you calling to try to list it? Because we've had 30 calls already. And so you want to make sure that they know, no, I'm actually in the market to buy a house. If you are an agent and you want to disclose it, that's fine. And sometimes I do. I go, you know what? I'm a broker because of the business I'm in, but I actually am not calling you to actually list your property. So I'm actually in the business of buying. And so here's a qualifying question: how quick are you looking to move? Sometimes we have people that are looking to move as quickly as possible. Some people want to move 6 months from now, and they have a contingency. Do you have your next home picked out already? Another qualifying question. And if they said yes, I would go, oh, where are you moving to? Or if no, not yet, okay, so you need to sell this house before you can buy your next one. Got it. Which would lend me to want to push into the home renovation purchase program. Here's what we say: I buy houses just like yours all the time. And again, you can change this if you don't feel comfortable with it, because some people want to go, I'm looking for a house in that neighborhood. You can go that way too. But here we go. I buy houses just like yours all the time, and I found that if the seller is willing, we can come up with a solution that works best for both of us. Is that okay with you? And then they're going to be, remember, they're still in defense mode, so they're going to be, it's about price. Anyway, but before I can make that decision, I need to come by and see it. What time would be better for me to come out and see your house? And give them 2 times. Give them 2 choices. Tuesday at 5 p.m. or Wednesday at 5 p.m. Right? And you want to do this during the week. A lot of people are busy during the weekends, and so it's just better to come by and make a quick visit. Here's the second part of that. Hey, before I come out, there's just a few more questions I need to ask about your house, just so I can make sure it's something that I'd be interested in. Okay, is the home vacant, occupied? Are you guys still living there, or is it something that's vacant? Let's see if they'll tell you. How many bedrooms, how many baths? Find out square footage, size of the garage. Sometimes they're not going to know any of this. And does it need repairs? Have you completely updated it? And this for us is so important because I want to know if it's something that has been updated. So if it needs a lot of repairs, oh no, it needs a lot of repairs. Okay. Well, let me take you through a few things and you let me know what needs to be fixed and what doesn't. Carpet, paint, roof, cabinets, blah, blah. And if they say, oh, it's a total redo, that's music to our ears. All right. Hey, do you happen to know what it would cost to fix this up if I were to buy your house? See, this is a great qualifying question. And they may say, oh, $200,000. Well, if we come in and we want to price lift this, now we know we can come in probably half that, still make some money, and they're happy too. All right. So what are you asking for your house again? I've been looking through different houses, and actually it's not popping up. Have them tell you. Oh, you know what? We're asking this amount. And then, how did you come up with that price, if you don't mind me asking? Did you look on Zillow? Did you talk to a realtor? All right. Okay. And how soon would you like this to be sold? When are you guys looking to move? When are you looking to get out of here? So these are just qualifying questions that are great when you're actually cold calling for sale by owners. And the funny part about this is in cold calling part 1, we talked about reflexes and overcoming objections. In our business, it's a little different. This isn't straight sales, and we're building relationships. So you want to have those techniques You definitely want to have them, but sometimes you don't need them, which is really nice. Not in this case. One last thing, when I come out, it's important that all of the decision makers be there, so I can come to an agreement to buy your house. Will everybody be there that needs to be there to make that decision at that appointment? Okay, and well, make sure you say their first name. I really look forward to meeting you at 5 p.m. Tuesday. Right? And that's it. It's very simple to cold call. We actually make it so much more difficult than it is. And something like this, you have a hot lead. You're not calling them as a realtor. They want buyers. They want you to come see it. And maybe it's for us and maybe it isn't. And now for us, we're not going to buy, renovated property. So if it's renovated and they tell you that, see, some people say a house is renovated and it's not, right? They renovated it 15 years ago. It's not going to sell for the price they want. Then we get into, hey, there's 3 reasons why a property doesn't sell: location, condition, or price. Which one of those, or do you think more than one of those is actually hurting you, and why your house, we're not going to call for sale by owners usually that haven't been on the market more than 2 weeks, or less than 2 weeks rather. We want them to be on the market a little while, have them get through everybody that's kind of barraging them with trying to list their property, and then we come in as an actual buyer. All right, let's move into a different type. Foreclosures, right? Low-lying fruit. They're in trouble, but they're defensive. They already have someone. All right, so let's try this one. Hi, I'm looking for Jan. Let's say Jan. Hi, I'm looking for Jan. Hi, Jan. My name is Sam with Fortune Weavers. You can say me. I don't like saying Sam Weaver, right? Because it's a little odd. So I would just say Sam with Fortune Weavers. I don't need to. But you would want to say your first and last name with whatever your name of your company is. All right. I hate making these types of calls, right? And I'm sure you're aware that your house has showed up on the county website for houses in foreclosure. And then once you say that, they're like, oh, you just like the air out of a balloon. If you don't mind, I'm looking to help you with the situation. I'm going to ask you a few questions. Is the foreclosure a temporary situation where you'll be able to come up with the money, or have you decided to sell your house? Qualifying question. Most of the time, I've got it taken care of. All right. So I was wondering, are you aware of your rights regarding these issues? And that's where you're going to need to know a little information about homeownership bill of rights. Okay. Well, I help people in your situation all of the time, and I believe I can help you too. What time would be better for me to come out and discuss your options with you? So you're assuming that they're going to meet with you, right? And this is where you'll probably get an objection. Oh, no, we've already got it taken care of. Okay, and it's not in the script, but when they say that, then you're going to use one of the reflex responses. You know what, Jan? I know a lot of people tell me that, but our company is really different, and the only way you're going to find out how different we are is if you give me just a few minutes of your time to see your property and actually discuss how we can help you keep your home if that's what you want. So I just sidestep it. All right. So before I come out, there's just a few questions I need to ask, or I need to ask you about your house. Is that okay? Right? Yes. Okay. Is the home vacant or occupied? Same question. Bedrooms, bath, how many square feet? Same thing, right? Same thing we just talked about on the last one. Size of the garage. Is it a 1-car or a 2-car? Does it need repairs, right? How much do you think the house is worth? Have you checked it out on Zillow? What's your sale date, right? What's arrearage amount? How far behind on you? We basically show people how to save their homes if that's what they want, and we can get into all those different ways on a different training, and we'll probably do that tomorrow night. But one last thing, when I come out, it is important that all of the decision makers be there so I can come to an agreement to buy your house. Will all of the decision makers be there for the appointment? It's very, very important. Okay. Well, Jan, I look forward to meeting you at 5 p.m. tomorrow, whatever you're going to do here. So this is the same thing as we did in the last script. You're going to have to kind of bounce around. This is just a basic script. So when they throw you a curveball, it's just going to take some calls to get through that. But there's plenty of people in foreclosure for you to practice on. So that's great. Okay, moving forward. This is a seller lead sheet that we're going to make sure we send to you guys. And what this is just if we're calling anybody, any property at all, a wholesaler, whatever, These are the questions we need to know. The address, date, where the lead source came from. Okay. You can use this on this isn't a script, but this is a lead sheet, and it gives us, do they currently live in the house? So this would be more like if you have We Buy Houses cash signs, bandit signs, and someone calls you. This would be more of a sheet for that. Any repairs needed? How much do you think it costs? I always want to know what people think it's going to cost to repair their homes. I've had some crazy numbers like $300,000, stuff like that. Is the home listed? Price? How long? Any offers? How much? Do you have a realtor? How long is your contract for? Right? Is there any particular reason that you are looking to sell at this time? That's a qualifying question. Why are they looking to sell? What's going on? What's the situation? Okay. How quickly are you looking to sell? Very important, because again, you don't want to make an offer, that says in 7 days if they want to be there 30. Okay. What are you looking to sell the property for? Is that price flexible? And here's the next one. How did you establish that number? Where did you come up with a price? Oh, well, the house down the street sold for that. Okay. What was the condition of their house? Was it the same as yours? Oh, no, but, we just figured we could get that. Oh, okay. Can you do any better than that? Because if I need to pay all this money to get this house fixed up, I can't lose money. I can't allow my investors to lose. So is there, can you beat that price? And again, I'd probably want to meet them first before I start doing that. If I asked, can they do better than that? You've already asked if there's any flexibility in the price. It depends. Sometimes you don't get the time of day to even come visit it, right? So you got to make a quick call. So that's when you would ask that question. And what are you going to do if the property doesn't sell? Now, we're not going to have that in this particular market so much, but I like it on the sheet just because it's an interesting question. If they're trying to get too much for it, and you say, hey, that's really high. I'm looking on my computer, and fixers don't go for that high in the area. So what are you going to do if the property doesn't sell? And if they're in foreclosure, they're going to get foreclosed on. Okay. And again, so you have Property Radar. A lot of times you can find out what they owe, but you might ask these questions. What do you currently owe on the property? Is there any liens, meaning child support liens, tax liens, things like that? Are you current on your payments? If not, how many months behind? What's the arrearage amount? Right, amount behind. Any back taxes, lien amount, stuff like that. So this is just your complete information sheet that allows you to fact find on the phone. We don't do subject twos so much, but the question's there for those that want to maybe throw out that question, right? If I could give you some cash now and take over the responsibility for the payments on the mortgage, how much cash would you need to move? And then we always ask, is that the best you can do? And what do you need the money for, right? See if they'll tell you. And then here's the follow-up dates when you call again on that particular person. And then ARV, are you confident, not confident? As is value, want to come up with that. What's the repair cost? You're going to run that basically on what they told you at $45, $50 a square foot. Likely to purchase this, confident, non-confident, right? What's the offer, exit strategy, stuff like that. If you had an appointment, when was the appointment, what time? So this is a sheet you should actually be taking to those appointments. All right, and then when you're cold calling, you kind of want to keep track of what you're doing so you can see if you're, just like we do if we're working out, we want to keep track of times and reps and stuff like that, right? So here I have review your goals so you know why you're doing it. Practice your scripts, role play with other people, right? And what's your contact? How many people do you want to contact a day when you're cold calling? And how many hours did you work? Here's the date, start time, end time, and how many you did. Follow-up contacts, notice of default contacts, new realtor contacts, for rent by owners, a great one, for sale by owners, and expireds. You can even add even more to that if you wanted. All right, so that's basically what you're going to do with your cold calling. We're going to send you out these sheets and these scripts so you guys will have them. And then we'll just continue to work on cold calling. There's no real rhyme or reason to it. It's just making a lot of calls and you get in front of a lot of people on the phone, and you'll see that you'll get lots of appointments. The people I know that are doing well at cold calling set several appointments. Like I said in Cold Calling Part 1, we actually have a student that's graduated our program who put 200 houses under contract by cold calling about a year ago. It was a year's worth of work, and that's really impressive. But he had mastered cold calling. All right, winners are not people who never fail. Always remember that, but people who never quit. You have to be willing to dust off your knees and get back up and get right back to work. Okay, Q&A. So if this is a video email to you, please send any questions to team@fortuneweavers.com. And if this is a webinar replay, stay tuned for questions and answers next. That's all we have for today's presentation, and we will see you on the flip side.